Grazine or Milan, though?
I'm not sure about Milan. Grazine and Mitch were on one of the, like, old Fnatic Dota 2 teams back when the the Fnatic team that everyone knew with, like, No-Tail Fly and all that, they were playing Hon, and Fnatic had a Dota team as well as a Hon team. They had this kind of mixed Baltic, mostly Serbian players, and they were actually like doing pretty well. They kind of fell off. This was really early days, like around before TI2 even.
Right, right. That sounds vaguely familiar. I feel like I've seen these names.
And they were like one of the kind of like top 3 European.
Yol is not one that comes to mind. It seems like kind of an odd Pro Gear set player hero matchup.
It's more like, what would you consider Yol to be on though? It's just maybe the Russian community thinks of
maybe
known for his
some reason Bane comes to mind. I feel like he's a guy that's played a lot of Bane. I don't know if that's right, just because I'm looking at Bane right now, but I'm not so.
What hero looks around Bane? That's
Bane.
What I want.
You know what? That looks like a Yol hero to me. But okay, we're finally ready here. We're in this game. Navi squaring off against mYinsanity. VanScore, he'll take the Bane Elemental here in the safe lane. It will indeed be a 2-1-2 for Navi. The stand-in Travka here for Vost will be in the safe lane farming away. Dendi takes the Fairy Dragon mid. That puts Fuddock offlane on the Necro, and he'll be joined by Goblack on the Abaddon. And yeah, talk about your all-time classic Goblack heroes. Boy, does he love those tanky healers, defensive types, your Treants, your Abaddons, and well, he's gonna get one here. And when you pair that with the Necro, that is a lot of survivability, a lot of healing potential. But Fuddock with an interesting play. He goes first point in the Heartstopper aura. I feel like you don't see that every day.
I would say it's actually not as that uncommon. This.
Okay.
What would you say? You go for the Death Pulse?
Death Pulse usually. I feel like I've seen mostly.
Like, the level 1 isn't that cost effective for like 75 damage / heal. So.
It's not that much, but is the level 1 of Heartstopper really that effective? I mean, I guess you could say it's cost effective.
This is a value point. This is definitely a value point.
Well, certainly, yeah, certainly like that. But
you go for like a max Death Pulse with 1 in Heartstopper, and then like 2 to 3 Sadist, and then go back for Heartstopper. Depending, like how many Sadists you get is kind of up in the air a bit. But
okay. Alright, he is going for the double ring of protection, a great build on the Necro. I guess some credit goes to Eternal Envy for kind of popularizing this build, but I don't know if you've actually tried this yourself, but it makes you surprisingly tanky with all that value armor, because he starts so low. That's his big weak point, I think.
And he's trading right clicks with a Skywrath who has 0 armor, and he's getting extra damage taken from Heartstopper. This is not a battle Skywrath is going to win.
Yeah. Even through the Tango, his regen feels pretty slow here. And then you've got the Aphotic Shields on top of that from Goblack, getting some decent experience. So he'll have Mist Coils to give to Fuddock if need be. Yeah, this Necrophos really does not have too many cares right now in terms of taking damage.
It is going to be a support Meepo, by the way, so not where I expected this hero to be played. But.
Yeah, so it's a tri-lane with a Meepo built around the Jakiro. He'll be the one farming here, it looks like.
I think it works okay as a support this game because there's not many heroes that are going to like destroy Meepo. Like, because this, as a support as Meepo, you're not going to get too much farm, but he's not going to also get punished by this draft. There's no like Lion or Lina to burst him down. There's no Earthshaker Sanking for their AoE stuns. There's no good Meepo counters. If anything, it would have been even better as a core, though, because of that very fact. Yeah,
that's sort of what I was thinking here. But, you know, sometimes when you're on that 4-type position and you have a hero that can start to snowball a little bit, like we've seen it with Wraith Kings and Mirana, the Meepo can maybe traverse the roles a little bit and upgrade himself to a 3 and maybe even a 2 if this game goes on long enough and farm it loud. So I have a little bit of hope that Lizard... No. Oh, close.
One right click.
All right, Milan lives. Meanwhile, on the top side of the lane, Goblack chases Booktop all the way to the mid. And looks like they will part ways there. So, how are our lane matchups looking? Razor and Puck, kind of a wash, both sides beating into each other. Goblack and Booktop still duking it out. Both the Goblack will make it back to the tower just fine. No one in the mid really farming that well. The safe lane farmer that's making a lot of work. This Viper, Travka, having a pretty easy time down here against the Tide.
Stanley's pulling his weight so fast. Yeah, Tide's getting absolutely nothing really out of this lane.
Yep. And Fuddock, he's farming okay in the offlane. 8 and 2. Not great. He did have to spend some time alone while his Abaddon was roaming around playing with Booktop here. Meepo, basically free run of the jungle. They did get a Sentry Ward down, and they've got their pole camp open. So pulling to his little heart's content, and the Miner finding some okay farm out of the gate, given that he is in a support role.
Vinceco with some like Spidey Sense dewarding. He just dewarded both mYinsanity wards with separate sentries, and That's pretty next level, especially the one by the Roshan pit, because that's not a very... Like, you have to put it right on that cliff and know exactly where it's going to be to get that D ward. So.
So looking at Dire Vision now, yeah, they are totally blind. They don't have a single ward down except this sentry in the tree line of their safe lane. So pretty advantageous for Na'Vi.
Yeah, and pretty slow, at least opening, which is kind of what Navi's draft is kind of designed to do. They put this dual lane top, which you can't really kill, you can't really punish. They have Dendi on a puck mid lane, which is a hero you can't really gank. And then their safe lane, well, it's a tide down there, so you're not looking at any kills there. Na'Vi, they come online around the kind of 10 to 15 minute mark. They'll get Dendi getting his levels, doesn't need his blink necessarily, and just have the strength of the Necrophos with his also fairly early level 6 to go for some kills and tower pushes around.
Yeah, down bottom, Mitch will get put inside of the Nightmare, so VanScore gets himself a bounty rune, and up top, what do we have here? Go Black standing on a haste rune, keeping it safe for his friend, and Dendi will be able to bottle it up. We will see our first rotation, though. Smoke Gank from mYi, all the way from the top lane. Little Meepo, joined by Skywrath, will head down bottom and see if they can rendezvous with old Mitch.
Yeah, you can't gank the puck too well, you can't really do much against Necrabadon, but this VanScore Bane, well, should be in trouble.
This could well be your first blood. Yeah, the proof's coming on in. Bane gets off the defensive Nightmare, buys himself a little bit of time, but not enough to live, and Lizard on the Meepo walks away with all that pretty bonus gold. Nothing the Viper could do to keep that Bane alive.
Yeah. Picks up Tranquil Boots on the Meepo, so this is where, like, Meepo's level 3, you want to go for a gank immediately. Generally, you'd go mid lane, but because it's a puck, he goes for the more safe kill on the Bane at bottom lane. Well, yep. Viper TPing back in, he's looking for a kill on Mitch and Snare. Lizard's out of mask, doesn't have any poofs here to play around with.
VanScore's on his way in, though. Does have a Nightmare to try and set something up if he wants to make some space for the Viper to close the gap, but no, they'll let everybody walk away. A couple low health heroes, but mYi will live to tell the tale. Boot Top uses a salve on himself, and Skywrath will hold the lane and see if the creeps shove into the tower here. Mid lane, wow. I missed that one, but Dendi finds a solo kill on the Razor. Looks like Dream Coil was all he needed.
Yeah, then that's Dendi for you. We'll get those solo kills on players who just aren't quite expecting it, I guess. And matchup Razor, I would say, should have a very slight advantage in against the puck. He's getting crushed in CS, and, well, now gets solo killed.
Puck should not really be finding solo kills against the Razor. That is just sort of an outskilled sort of state of the lane when you see that coming out. So maybe not a big surprise. Dendi is, well, Dendi, the player that needs no introduction. And he did bottle up a haste rune, so maybe that was one of the discerning factors there also. But all of a sudden, things looking okay for Na'Vi. Sure, they give up the first blood, but all things considered, not that big of a deal. And on the note of that, like, 10 to 15 minute timing push, that's where Na'Vi will just be so scary. They have so much sustainability between the Abaddon and the Necro, and then you've got Bane, who's leveling up Brain Sap, so he'll be able to heal himself up a bit, and we'll see how mYi deal with it. Yeah, this is very aggressive from Dendi. Maybe he can find a kill here, but looks like he won't have quite enough damage. Go Black gives him a shield. Maybe he'll go to dive at TP in. Milan gets hit by the orb. Dendi gets the kill. Jakiro comes in, misses the ice path, and Dendi will walk away. Not too much worse for wear. Whiffs the phase shift there, but no big deal, as he gets another one up on the scoreboard. This mid lane is turning into a bit of a bloodbath.
Yeah, that's bad news for mYinsanity. If they had any kind of instant TP backup, but you can't always expect that. Like, he's not playing against a puck expecting to get bailed out by a TP from a Jakiro or a TP from Meepo, so Razor just getting outplayed, as we've mentioned, and we'll see what mYinsanity can do elsewhere. Lizard's doing some nice neutral stacking here, so he's going to have a big boost to his farm once he can kill this, which level 2 poof is a bit tricky to do, or at least a bit slow, but it's still very possible. Yeah, nice big 4 stack there for him, so plenty of income at his disposal. I wonder if mYi should put some resources into trying to shut down Dendi a little bit. He's not going to rush the blink, instead looks for power treads out of the gate, but he's well on his way to a very well-timed blink dagger, especially if he picks up another kill. He also has been going a lot for the Midas. I'm wondering if he's going to even go for the blink. It gets the blink eventually. It's just a matter of whether he goes Midas blink or...
How often has he been favoring the Midas? Is it kind of like a 50-50 Midas before blink? Or I think I've seen him do it once, but as I mentioned, I haven't cast too many Na'Vi games.
I haven't. Recently. Last time I saw him, he went the straight Midas, so I'm not sure what is more likely. That was just one game. So.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But this is also one of those matches where Na'Vi, if they are looking for that timing push we've talked about, the Midas may not quite fit into that niche where Dendi is probably going to be looking for the mobility there. We'll see up top a battle for the top rune. Yeah, Lizard, he's taking a lot of damage, throws out the nets, grabs Go Black, and he just gets bursted down. The Abaddon rather low level. at only 4, so of course no borrowed time, and that'll be a 1-0 at the top rune. And who actually got the rune? It was the Abaddon. A bounty rune, yeah, not going to be worth that exchange. But Mitch gets the invis down bottom, and he is soon to find his 6, and that means a Ravage.
Yeah. Fortunately not 6 with the invis, but see him. I don't think he's going to make too much out of this invis rune. I don't think Meepo wants to go ganking just yet. He probably wants to farm this big stack of his now that he's level 5. So this is kind of an ideal time for him to at least start getting to work on it.
Yeah.
And this, as you kind of said, turning Meepo from a 4 position to a 2 or a 3 is going to be key for mYinsanity in this game. Because there's no good Meepo counters. He's just a core hero this game as far as dealing with Navi's draft.
So they've given Jakiro a lot of space here. Na'Vi have kind of abandoned the offlane. Now they've rotated Funnock into the jungle. He went Tranquils and Basilius. So making use of both of those rings of protection he picked up earlier on. And now the point booster. So it looks like it'll just be fast ags for him, possibly. Could also be a casual point booster, and he'll go back for something like a mech or something else that
is a pretty solid build if you want the
even just going like point booster into Atos. Rushing Atos is great because of the timing, but if you get the point booster with it, man, you hit this timing where you're so beefy, it's unreal.
I also like the Bloodstone build that Kuro likes to on his Necrophos, so maybe we see the Bloodstone come out.
Yeah, very versatile hero in terms of opening builds. But meanwhile in the mid lane, Milan, he gets coiled and will TP out, just barely lives. Thought the tether might be enough to bring him down in the well, but he does survive.
Coming in for a Reaper was just a little bit too late, it looks like, so...
Yeah.
Radiant's top
a little too slow.
This is the bottom lane's been nightmared up.
Not
going for a kill though.
Tide is 6 now, so I'm not sure they really want to commit into anything here. Trafka on the Viper is level 8, so could put up a fight, but still scary when you're up against the Ravage. Top tier 1 tower finally goes down. Jakiro's been working on that for the last 10 minutes with that maxed out liquid fire, and it will finally yield a tower kill. 1,300 gold up on him now, and glancing at the net worth, Jakiro in pretty good shape. Now I'm curious what item build he'll go for. It looks like an urn is on the docket for him, but an early mech for the Jakiro could be an option. We've seen Yules as the big popular build, and I think that's probably your best way to go. But MYM, I just feel like they need something for this mid-game fight. And if they don't have a mech, like Meepo looking towards an Ags, Tide pulling up for the Blink, they might hit this timing where they're working on all these big items and just don't have anything to fight in the here and now.
Yeah, Na'Vi could just suddenly take like 3 tier 1 towers in quick succession if they're Lizard can't really initiate until he has Ags as well as the Blink Dagger, and I think mYinsanity you're going to have to play pretty kind of defensive farm mode for some time.
I feel like there's like a lot on Mitch to make these early Ravages count. He hasn't used one yet, but that's going to be their defensive tool in these team fights. And one whiffed Ravage or one that only yields like 1 kill or something, it's just a long window where Na'Vi know that they're safe and the defensive capabilities are weakened.
Oh, the stacks are real. They've got a 5 stack at the big camp and a dual stack at the medium camp.
Yeah, wow.
Some serious business.
That is a big fatty, as Merlini would say right there. That is good stuff.
I'm surprised Meepo hasn't tried to farm it yet. He's just been doing the small camps. You're using one of his Meepos to try to find kills at this bottom lane continuously. He's, I guess, deciding that it's not worth passively farming if there's potential kills or fights that are going to come. And with the Tide having Ravage, playing this aggressively at bottom lane could lead to a good team fight.
I think he's kind of finding the best of both worlds right now, where he's got the one Meepo, pulling the easy camp, so getting a little bit of farm, and still, you know, contributing in the team fights. And this is a 5-hero rotation for MYI, so they'll actually be the ones to be the aggressors here and start utilizing the push from this Jakiro. But Na'Vi, they're not having it. They will rotate. They're ready to fight. Dendi off in the front lines, will orb forward with a shield. MYI back out. And they want to make sure they find the proper initiation here. No blink on the Tide, so this won't be the easiest jump. Blink Dagger is up on Dendi, but it's on the Courier, so it's on the way. Funnock losing some damage off to the side. Ice Path connects, but no follow-up. Boop Top gets put to sleep. Dravka, he's in the front lines. There's your Ravage. Connects on 4. It's a great setup for MYI. They kill the Viper right away. Dream Coil comes out only on 2. Now Vanscore, the next target of choice. He gets blown up. That's a fast 2-0 for MYI. They might lose their Tide. It's going to be close. A lot of them taking a lot of damage. Dendi gets the Razor as well as the Tide. Now they jump on the Jakiro. That's the turn they were looking for. Boop Top tries to TP out. He'll be successful. And it looks like Meepo will make it out also. Looked bad for Na'Vi at first, but they turn it around and take the advantage.
Yeah, it was a solid Ravage, but Na'Vi just had, the rest of the heroes, they kill the Viper, but everyone else just stays alive. The constant Death Pulse spam, the Abaddon healing people up, and mYinsanity just need to kill that Viper and then get the hell out of there, because they weren't killing anyone else. They didn't have the damage or the farm. maybe with like Meepo having a third Meepo there, you can get the triple poofs going on, but the Macropyre as well as Ravage was used just to kill Viper. All their big spells just got used for one kill, and that was all they could get.
And there was still plenty of damage on the backside of that. Dendi, I don't know if was his Blink Dagger delivered like halfway through that fight? I think I saw him blink at the end.
Yeah, I think he got it. I think that Blink... He
got it for cleanup time.
Orbed in. That was a fantastic waning rip where he got like 3 heroes with the silence, and more important than the silence was just the raw damage output from it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Na'Vi, they came out way ahead on that. It was only 1 hero kill, but that was sort of the first tiff that we've seen, sort of securing the momentum for Na'Vi. Now 4,000 gold in experience in their favor, and mYi will come to the defense of their tier 1 mid, which was starting to get chipped upon.
This has been scouted, this big stack, by Na'Vi. So if I'm Na'Vi, I'm like, let's bring all 5 heroes and contest this. Funnick especially needs to come, but he's got no TP. He's stuck at bottom lane.
Oh, here we go. They know there isn't a Ravage, but they can't get overzealous here. Vanscore taking a lot of damage, gets healed up by Go Black, doing a good job with the Brain Sap. Not enough, but Dendi comes in. Again, Dream Coil on 2. Travka throws out a Viper Strike onto Milan, looking to bring down the Razor. They won't have enough damage, and this creates space for Jakiro in the bottom lane to push this tower. Up on the high ground, whoa! Dendi getting aggressive, jumps on top of the Skywrath, finds the kill there. It is a 4v4 now in this little exchange. I guess now a 4v3 really.
The Nucleus come into play. Funny's going to start spamming this down with help, but Dendi, they steal the 5 stack. Oh no.
This really hurts. Meanwhile in the lane, Milan getting chased down by Travka. This is a double disaster for mYi. Sure, they get a tier 1 tower out of it, but it's looking worse and worse as this fight goes on. Now they'll lose their tier 1 mid, so that'll be a wash. Na'Vi get the kill advantage, and they get that big stack. Looking at the recap, very misleading how far Na'Vi came out ahead on that one.
Yeah, that is like...
You can see, look at that upward line. That's your 5 stack in the Razor kill right there.
Yeah.
That's.
I don't think teamfight recaps show like neutral.
Just hero kills.
Yeah, it's just the gold chain from the hero kills. But that was like 1,500 gold worth of neutrals, and that's where I was a bit surprised that Meepo was like, okay, it's nice that he can offer assistance at bottom lane, but he needed to farm that stack ASAP because now if he come in and take it, that is a huge gold loss for this Meepo player who's now kind of in a world of trouble as a result.
And he's not the only one. You see this Razor, he is number 4 on net worth relative to the rest of his team. He got completely shut down mid, and now he's kind of inverse snowballing here. Milan with just Brown Boots, Gloves of Haste, Bracer, Aquila, no big items, nothing even on the horizon. There is one item pickup here that could be the saving grace for mYi, though. It is the Blink on Tidehunter. 16 minutes, an okay timing given how rough this early game's been. So we'll see. Maybe they can make use of this next big Ravage, but boy, does it need to be a big one.
Yeah, it really does, and the follow-up is just kind of not that impressive. Like, Jakiro's got to offer a lot with his Macropyre. He's going for the max Jewel Breath, which I actually kind of agree with, because they need damage output at this point, and Jewel Breath scales pretty well as far as damage goes. Ice Path is just like not going to offer you too much damage there. They've got enough crowd control coming out of Tide, Meepo and Snares, and everything else that the team has to offer, and, well... We'll see what mYinsanity can do. Right now, Na'Vi are going to play things safe. Dendi went back for his Midas after the Blink Dagger. He's got 1,200 gold on top of that, and he's just so far ahead of everyone in terms of net worth. Yeah, made 0.2k. Dendi's feeling very good this game. Other item progression on Na'Vi looks like Travka on the Viper. We'll just go right into an Ags. No mechanism going to be picked up there. And Funnick will go for the Bloodstone build, similar to what Kuroki does, as you mentioned. So really tanky, some great effective stats, and already has the Soul Ring. So there you go. Bloodstone complete. Great timing for this Necro. He's also level 11, so Reaper's Scythe now on that slightly shorter cooldown. I see TP's back up to the top lane. So everything coming up Na'Vi at this stage of the game. They're in good shape, and they've got this flexibility where they can sit back and farm and utilize their Midas or get aggressive. Really just kind of take it as it comes and look for the right opportunities. And I think for Na'Vi, like, you've got a lead like this, you don't, even though you've got a lineup which can kind of deathball and take towers, you don't have to try and force anything, because you will be pushing into that Blink Tide Ravage, which if someone like Dendi happens to get hit by that and the shield isn't, like, the Abaddon, like, he's got to stay far away to not get caught in a Ravage, so they could look to blow up someone like Dendi using the Ancient Seal, the Mystic Flare and all that, and Na'Vi, I think, out-farming their opponents, being a lot more efficient, especially when you have Midases on your side. Yeah, well, here we go. Dendi hops over the river, goes right on the boot top, hits him with a coil, and ends up being an easy kill. Orb away, and Dendi just executing with finesse, finds a freebie, and makes it 8-5. Going for the Axe 2 with this point boost. Now, I think this is a great choice. Like, the upgrade is nice, but I think even more importantly, it's just it makes him really tanky. Like, the only one of the big comeback mechanics is going to be killing some of these high net worth heroes like Dendi, and taking out with an accept is one way to prevent that.
Yeah. That's true, and also BKBs could be a potential recovery item this game. Maybe not the best BKB game. They've got some stuff that goes through it, but this is kind of that nail in the coffin of don't even think about getting BKBs. We've got Viper Strike, we've got Bane ult, now we've got a Dream Coil. So you look at mYi, and if they have a chance at winning this game, what do they do in terms of item progression? Looks like Jakiro might have an idea on that front, has his Yules complete, tries to set up, but
0 damage though.
I mean, yeah, just Funnick walks right out of it, and that's a macro pyre on cooldown. Easy as that.
So, I don't know what I was trying to accomplish there. Macro Pyre not a bad spell to use, like, just casually to spam out a creep wave, because it's a 60-second cooldown, but
yeah.
He was maybe just trying to bait Na'Vi to come in and throw spells unnecessarily.
Yeah, Jakiro will go back for the mech, so kind of getting the best of both worlds. Yules first for the setup, and now some healing potential for these incoming team fights. How's Meepo doing? Little Meeps is doing, yeah, a little lackluster. He's about 1100 from an Aghanims, but that's...
Yeah.
It's not like when he gets the Aghanims that's going to turn this game around. That's just a nice farming tool to get another Meepo out. Not a bad item, but the timing is a little bit more where it's cause for concern.
Yeah. And while Na'Vi do have one great Meepo here, which is the Necrophos, because late game Meepo does rely a bit on having buyback, and as well as the decreased respawn time.
The aggressors, and for Dire, they've got but one ward down aside from the sentries, and it's this observer right here. Let's check out the Jakiro down bottom. Dendi going right in, has the Aphotic Shield on, hits him with the orb. There's the TP out from the Yules, but yep, not going to match up in those timings there, Jakiro. You'll get hit by the coil, and you will die!
Yep. Yules TP does not work. Hex TP does work, but not Yules.
Yeah, Yules just a little too short, and whoa, Milan! We're gonna make a man out of you, sir! He gets Viper struck, Funnick hits him with the Reaper's Scythe, and down he goes, a 2-for-0 across the map, and that'll make it 10-5 here, just shy of the 20-minute mark, gods.
Yeah, that's 70 seconds on the sideline as well for the Razor, so likely tier 2 tower. Razor's not missing out on much farm. At this point, you'd rather farm goes to your Meepo or even like your Tide, your Jakiro, who seem to be offering a lot more than Razor. But yeah, towers cannot be defended when you're down a man.
Yeah, Na'Vi will just move right into the tower and do a lot of damage. A glyph is available. Dire have been putting some effort into stacking their Ancients. Triple stack there for the Tide. But again, could be like that 5-stack in the jungle all over again, where Na'Vi bump into it and go, hey, thanks for the stack, guys. That was really generous of you.
I think they saw him stacking earlier as well. No, they're not going to head east. They're going to go into the Roshan pit.
Okay. The ultimate ancient creep here, and I don't think mYi will be too eager to contest this. They do have a Ravage, but by the time Razor comes up, Roche is going to be pretty darn low.
It's going to be pretty late for them, and also this Meepo doesn't have his Blink yet, so even a Blink Ravage, Meepo can't just really waddle his way in without Na'Vi kind of catching on to what's going on. Yeah. It is a slow roast, so there's plenty of time for mYinsanity to get in position. They scout that with a nice cut.
So Dire have a general idea. They see how slow it is. Even with a Ravage, though, you're right. How's everyone else going to get into this fight without possibly getting jumped on? Dendi does have his Aghanims complete, so that coil will hurt. It's a 3-second stun.
Steal, maybe? That's could be what Tide's considering.
Hop in, Ravage, go for the Aegis. It is possible. They're coming around the backside. mYi coming in for it. There's your Ravage. Will connect on a few, but Roche is still alive. Mitch taking a lot of damage in the actual Roche pit. He'll get the Reaper's Scythe to the face, and it looks like the Dire just getting blown up. Roche goes down to the Radiant. It's Funnick that picks it up. It's a 1-for-3 initially. Now Book Top, the one that gets left behind, down on the bottom side of the fight, and Jakiro gets blown up in the top. Vincere, he's in hot pursuit here. He'll have a brain sap in 1 second. There's the kill for a full 5-man wipe. It's a 1-for-5, and Na'Vi still get the Roche.
Yeah, even if Tide goes at the perfect time to get the Aegis Steal, he dies twice. It's still a 1-for-5. Like,
yeah.
The Aegis Steal would not have changed how that fight went down. So they needed Meepo with a blink so he could blink in with the Tide and steal the... Like, you need the Aegis picked up on the Meepo there. That's the only way that was ever going to work for mYinsanity. And Meepo was still about 500 gold away from the blink. So now... Yeah. T3 high ground big siege.
Yeah, Na'Vi just have a very significant lead now. About 12,000 gold, 10,000 experience. Glyph comes out, but Na'Vi feel safe because they know they don't have the Ravage. Even if mYi had a Ravage here, they should still feel okay about chipping at this tier 3. But without it, there is just not a concern in the world. Macro Pyre will come out, but Dendi, not too much worse for wear, just wakes up and orbs out, gets another aphotic shield. mYi hold the high ground, but what do they do to reclaim momentum here? Following that fight, these heroes that just picked up items have so much gold. Necro at 2.2k, Dendi just shy of 2,000 gold, and even this Viper has an Aghanims and already another 1,700 gold in savings.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the answer is for mYinsanity. At some point, if Na'Vi are going to try 5-man towers, like the split pushing on Meepo is one way out of this. He narrowly avoids getting ganked here at the top lane.
Yeah.
That just in time, but yeah, Meepo is really the only solution to this game. His split push has to be insane, and then he'll gradually get to a point where he can get nice and farmed and offer a lot to the team and try come to fights. But then he runs into the problem of the Necrophos with the late game access, and that's going to be I don't know how Meepo deals with that. He can't fall back on the buyback. Maybe he gets an Aegis, like the next Roshan. If mYinsanity stall for the next Roshan, get an Aegis on Meepo, and get Lizard ridiculously farmed through split pushing and just farming enemy neutrals and just farming all over the map, that's their only way of winning this game.
Yeah, I think so, and that is a tall order. Meepo has kind of transitioned into the one. He is the highest on net worth for the Dire side, not by much, just about 600 up on the hero, but perhaps speaking to the state of this game, I don't know if it's Meepo farming well or the rest of his team not really farming at all, but he started as the 4 position, which makes this a little awkward for mYi. Dendi in the mid lane, he gets initiated on, does get silenced, Mystic Flare comes out, they will find a kill onto the Fairy Dragon. Yeah, nice little streak end there.
1,500 gold or something? Whew, even more than that as far as the change.
Yeah, about
Hero
18.
gets 1k, Scarith gets 400.
So they lose their tier 2 tower up top, and now the defense comes from Na'Vi. Funnick going on to Milan, and oh, there's your Viper Strike. Yeah, the Lightning Revenant will definitely fall here. Reaper's Scythe for good measure. Funnick secures his unstoppable streak, but Go Black gets silenced in the mid. Book top, they've got the vision. That's a Fiend gripping away. And Skywrath Mage will pay for his insolence. Sure, they get the kill on Puck, but it ends up being basically a 1 for 2 as Na'Vi come in for the cleanup.
Still, I guess you kill Dendi. You kill the Puck. Na'Vi, I don't see them getting like a high ground push off of this, but it is 45 seconds without Raisin. Every single like wave clear spell is needed at this point. You need to have that plasma field. You need to have the long range dual breath macro pie. You need to have as many just wave throwing spells as possible to keep your high ground alive.
Yeah, now Dire do have a glyph here, so perhaps they can make a hold at the barracks or slow it down, buy some time for their Razor. Shakiro throwing out the Ice Path, doing what he can. Tier 3 tower does go down. Glyph comes out, but a terrible time to use the Glyph. Wow, that didn't mitigate any damage, really. The creeps spawned right as they move into the barracks, so... Well, alright, scratch that theory crafting with the Glyph there.
That was a complete wasted Glyph.
Well, now barracks exposed, and they'll at least get rangebacks here very easily. Razor up in just a couple of seconds. Top, getting harassed by the Viper, set up from Shakiro, but look at all that corrosive. He doesn't really care that much. He'll get shielded up. Funnick just moving to the front of the pack. He does have an Aegis. Yes, he does. So he'll be coming right back to life. I don't think they'll abandon him here. Dendi not going to jaunt to the orb, but Funnick will be able to blink back. There's a big Ravage from Mitch. Connects on all 5, but do they have the follow-up damage? The Reaper's Scythe comes out onto the Tide, and they blow up the Necro. Makes it a 1 for 1, but now the rest of the damage is here. Dendi taking a lot. Meepo in trouble. There he is. He's dead. And yeah, mYi, they just get completely cleaned up again. Shakiro gets off of Yules and, well, ends up being his demise as he comes back to planet Earth. Go Black. Close call, but he'll be okay. Dendi, he might be in a nightmare, but he's got an aphotic shield, and the Shakiro will just give him a helping hand there. Here you go, Dendi. Big fan. Big fan. And, yep, he will pay with his life. Dendi says thank you by sending him to a watery grave. Yeah, looking a little bit over here, gods. mYi might not lose off this push, but yeah, they get a recovery kill. They still lose their mid lane of barracks, and it's just another disastrous team fight.
Yeah, everyone on the Na'Vi side getting massive right now. Shiva's got on your Necrophos, Dendi's got a BKB. It's just gonna get worse and worse.
Yep, and even Bane has a BKB here. Wow, that is not something you see every day, but...
He's got BKB with an extra ogre. I looked at these items, I'm like, wait, what's going on here? And then it's like, okay.
Wow.
The items don't combine in your inventory while you're dead, but yeah.
Yeah, an extra tanky Bane here, working on his Aghanim Scepter, and even Travka on the Viper looks like a Butterfly coming before too long. Jakiro did buy back in that last fight, so it was even a dieback for the Jakiro on top of it. Ouch. That stings.
Yeah. Insta smoke coming out of mYi. If they can catch Na'Vi before they group this 5 and try to get a pick off, it'll buy. Every little kill counts, just buying time, so Na'Vi don't 5-man push it, but it kind of feels like a losing battle right now. Getting it tied to a refresher and Lizard to like 2 more big items, but that's just not going to happen anytime in the next 5 minutes.
Yep, Na'Vi grouped up as 5, heading towards the top lane. Actually grouped up as 4, pardon me. Viper still yet to rendezvous with his team. He'll grab a bounty rune down bottom. Looks like mYi, they want a tower, and maybe they'll find the last tier 1 of Na'Vi here in the mid lane. Yeah, they'll be able to bring it down. Na'Vi will glyph it to buy themselves some time, but they need to get back to defend. They have no Ravage for another 5 seconds. They don't have a glyph, and this tier 3 tower already taking some serious heat. They will find the Viper in the mid, though, and they make a Viper sandwich. Dream Coil comes out from Dendi. They want to try to keep the Viper alive. It won't happen as Mitch uses the Ravage, finds the kill there, but now the rest of Na'Vi start to group up. Dendi with his BKB on the poof's just going to tickle. Now the follow-ups here. Funnick with a Reaper's Scythe brings down the Meepo. Now Malad on the run. Dendi in hot pursuit. Eye of the Storm not going to be enough to deter him. Now a buyback from the Meepo. Jumps on the Funnick. Connects with quite a few Earth Binds. Gets the kill there. Puck will finish off the Skywrath. Maybe they can make a hold here. Lizard doing what damage he can. Dendi blinks forward, wants to finish off the Jakiro. He does. Meanwhile, Meepo playing around with Vanscore. It's an ultra kill for Dendi. If he can get the kill on Lizard, you know what that means. Will this be a Rampage Boys moment? Good.
Lizard's getting just kited around. He couldn't kill Vanscore, and even Goblack without an ulti, he couldn't get the kill on the Abaddon.
Oh man, Lizard doing everything he can, but Dendi goes in, and oh, they deny his Rampage. Vanscore gets the kill, but it's a dieback for Meepo. Eek.
I feel bad for talking this guy's Meepo's legit, but that fight, I feel like he could have at least killed the Abaddon and then gone for the kill on the Bane, but just a bit of missed micro hero there and doesn't get either of the kills in the end, and well, with top rack, it's all over.
Yeah, 1 lane of barracks down, maybe some very low chance comeback potential possible, but with 2 down, yeah, feeling pretty grim. They will stay in here a little bit longer, though, as Funnick hops forward, goes right on the boot top, gives him the scythe a little early, still brings him down. Funnick maybe in some trouble. Nightmare comes out, but will live, and now the sustain is there, and yeah, with the Abad and Necro and Bane, it's just too much. mYi simply can't deal with all the sustain.
Yeah. So they'll stick it out for one last Tarat. They're probably bottom line Araxes, but Na'Vi will have Roshan available to them in about a minute's time, and also just big, scary late game items. Necrophos is now going back for the Ag Scepter, and this is normally like it's your 4th or 5th item normally is Necrophos. You don't need it early on. It's the ultra late game where the cancelling of buybacks is just so powerful. Yeah,
it really is, and you know, as the game continues on, even that 30 seconds of extra time in the grave is very helpful.
That 30 seconds in the early game is the most
unreal.
Annoying thing ever.
Yeah.
You're like a level 5 support hero and you get Reaper's Scythe and you're like, oh, it's okay, I'm only dead for 20 seconds, and you're like,
doubles your respawn timer.
50 seconds? What is this bullshit? I actually think that's the one thing about Necrophos I'd like to see change, because early game Reaper kills on...
You think it's too good? You want to go back to the scaling percentage?
I just think having a flat number in the early game is just too crippling for some heroes.
Maybe it should be like level 1 Scythe is 15 seconds, level 2 is like 22 seconds, level 3 is 30 or something.
I think having it scale like 10, 20, 30 maybe. I don't know.
Although the 10 is pretty weak. I have to admit that would make Necro a little less appealing in the early game. I wouldn't say he's overpicked right now, but that is definitely one of his stronger suits. That first Scythe is... You do not want to be that target, but God, look at these items, dude. Butterfly on Viper, Refresher on Puck. All these point boosters here. They're just so big.
17k net worth on Dendi right now.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Just looking at the net worth, and you got to imagine there's no way in hell mYinsanity can defend this.
Yeah, but he is doubling the Meepo. They're 4 turned 1. Smoke rotation for mYi. They want to do the wraparound here. They'll try and catch him off guard. Mitch will do that with the Ravage. Follow up right onto Travka. Maybe they'll bring down the Viper again. That seems to be the name of the game for this Dire side. They will, but Reaper's Scythe finds the kill on Meepo. They get the Tide, they get the Jakiro, and the Dire side just melts under the team fight pressure. Another ultra kill for Dendi, 1 for 5, and well, that'll seal the deal. Dendi ending this game 13-1 and 15. Got him.
That was not a close game, and I was I was expecting more from mYinsanity. I've seen them play a lot better than that, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess we're versing Na'Vi factor. We've got to adds that little bit of extra pressure. You just don't play.
Yeah.
You try to do something a little bit extra, or a bit different, because you're versing one of the kind of the top teams.